stoked. Woo.
That's enough practice now.
Oh, that is a sexy, sexy trailer. Shame about the owner. Mwah, bellissimo. This big.
G'day Frothers, welcome back. We're on our home turf down on the New South Wales South Coast, ready to get moist.
Line up for a oh!
Awesome. Boys are just there. Whales are just there, they've come in on us.
Now as you can see, conditions are pretty awesome. There was a fair bit of groundswell in it, about 1.3 metres, but there was bugger all wind, the viz was pretty good, and the water temps had come up to about 18 degrees. We were out with a really specific intent this morning. We were chasing kings. We got out just after first light, right on the change of high tide. Now, as you just saw, there was heaps of whales about coming right in next to us. And just listen to the noise on this dive. It was like this for most of the day. Whilst there was a fair bit of life around, we weren't really finding any bait schooled up and there just didn't seem to be much predatory action happening. So we kept driving around between a few bommies and just having a bit of a look about. The main method we were using today was just throwing out a throw flasher, in this case a holographic tape on a PVC pipe, and letting it sink down, just watching to see if we could bring in any of the predators. Got the attention of the bait fish, but we just weren't really seeing many kings. So we started to just sort of head down to the bottom, tuck up on the reef and just sit there and see if we could get them to come into us. Now on our dives I was seeing plenty of fish, there was lots of goatfish around, leather jackets and all sorts, but I'd committed to myself that I wasn't pulling the trigger unless I saw a kingfish today, and I was going to hold out for it. This territory is on the deeper side for me. These dives are sort of between 12 and 16 metres and it's about my sort of limit for comfortable hunting depth. I can go a little bit deeper, I'm not really comfortable hunting much deeper than that. Luckily for me, my dive buddies are all much better divers than I am, so if anything goes wrong, I can just send them down to fix it up for me. I wasn't having a lot of success with the throw flasher, and to be honest, it can be a bit of a distraction at times if it's not bringing the fish in. So I clipped it onto the shark clip and just went down to do some espeto on the bottom. It's about 16 metres deep here, and if I pull up on the top of this rock, it's just over 14. As soon as I went down, commotion brought in the kings. Whilst the first two were good fish, it was the third one that really had some size about it. Bang. Great holding shot. This slow-mo's super cool. You can really see the Rob Allen roller gun in action here. Nice and accurate, shoots like a laser. I was able to measure this out. I'm running a double wrap, and that impact was probably about 4.5 metres from the tip of the gun. And even just with a 110 and a single band, the penetration was really good. You can see the shaft's gone straight into the fish and come well out the other side. I knew straight away that this was target acquired. Easily the biggest kingfish I'd speared. Started heading for the surface and knowing full well that there was a reef edge there, I grabbed onto the string and sort of tried to drag it off the bottom. But, you know, on the way up, I realised pretty quickly I was probably going to have to let a little bit of line out of that reel if I wanted to get oxygen again. As is always the case, my dive buddy Captain Brown has my back. He's seen me from above what's going on and he's offered a second shot. Now, I was super confident of the holding ability of this shot, but I also didn't want to worry about a fish rubbing down off the reef or bringing in sharks. So I gave him the all clear to head down and see if he could plug a second one into it for me. Now, it's pretty cool. I get to watch him go down, I'm still hanging on here, and you can hear that string just pulling through my hands. It's actually burning the fingers on these gloves. And he puts a nice solid shot into it and come on up. Now the best thing about this is Brownie had his camera on, which was awesome because my GoPro strap just let loose right about there. And here we are with the captain's point of view.
Do you want a second? Okay, going.
I just want to flag a couple of really cool things here. Firstly, my dive buddy's got my back. Secondly, before we went out there, we'd made a game plan in respect to taking a second shot or not. And we'd agreed that if the other person's got a fish on, you offer a second, if they give you the all clear, you go down and take care of it. It's exactly what Brownie does here. Now, to be fair, he's got this big cannon of a double roller with a slip tip that I know he wanted to test, so I don't think I really made him work too hard for it. Now this second shot really puts a hurt on the fish, and we're able to get it up quick smart. It turns what could have been a long 10-minute battle into just a couple of minutes of tug of war. And reducing the duration of the fight simply means we've got less chance of bringing in sharks and more certainty of getting this fish on ice. Man, I was already thinking about what I wanted to cook with this thing.
That's a beast.
Fucking huge. Bug.
Cover the head. Cover the head. Yep. Sweet. My first proper kingy. Well over a metre. Pretty sure my GoPro was off, but there's like a bit of footage for it. Fucking stoked. Whew. Thanks, man.
Big dog.
Big dog. What a fucking rush. Brownie, thank you.
Thank
Luke,
you.
thank you. That was 3 in the first two. I was eyeing them. I'm like, oh, they're pretty big. And I looked at the third one. I'm like, oh.
Come on, Papa.
I don't know, cause like I was like, fuck, I don't know if my GoPro's on or off. I'm like, I'm not gonna touch it. I think it's on. And then all shit just went. He got
Wowee, that's a big girl. 115, maybe a little touch over, 13 kilos. Nice fat springtime South Coast kingy. Bit of work ahead of me now. Alright, frothers, this is my dry aging fridge. It's an ex-commercial display fridge. You don't need this, it just looks freaking awesome. And I like it. I run this as low as I can, which is about 2 to 3 degrees. It doesn't go any lower, unfortunately. I wouldn't mind it more around that 1 to 3 mark, but it does sort of bounce down to about 3. Still, looks fucking awesome and does the job for dry aging a treat. Oh, that is a nice bit of meat. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. Now I have a hard rule. I do not butcher any of my fish on the day I catch it. Matter of fact, it's a minimum of 24 hours before I'll get a knife into a fish. There's a few reasons for this. Firstly, I don't want to put a glorious fish like this on a nasty old cleaning table down at a boat ramp. Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Second, once the fish has gone through rigor, it's been hanging and drying for a little while, the flesh will set up really nice and it just makes the butchering job so much easier. And it even makes a numpty like me look pretty bloody good. Now, these fillets came off in absolutely beautiful condition. I left very little meat on the bone, and what was left there was good to make a stock. I clean up my work area between all the tasks. I don't want to spread blood onto the meat. And one of the benefits of this process too is that the skin dries off nicely. It means you can get a thumb under there and just pull it back. And then once you've got a place for the blade, it's really easy to keep it along the skin and lose absolutely no meat at all. Now I'm a bit undergunned in the knife department here, but it's the biggest one I had with me, so I do what I can. You can see with the fillet split in half like this, it makes it a lot easier to finish off. I've gone through, I've removed the centre bloodline, removed any bones that are present, and I've taken off any of the excess red meat on the back. You can see here with this really nice dry skin, I'm able to get a thumb under there and actually start to peel the flesh off the skin. Makes it super easy to get the knife in there and just run it along the skin. Again, some really clean fillets come off. Trim these up nice and neat, perfectly butchered meat, and ready to make some spectacular dishes with. Now, whilst I'm technically not cooking here, this is my absolute favourite for kingfish. Now, this is somewhere between a ceviche and a carpaccio. I always call it a carpaccio, but much like a ceviche, I'm curing this fish with lime juice. I'm just taking really nice thin slices, about 1.5 to 3 millimetres thick, putting down a nice single layer on this plate, and then the next step is going to be to juice some limes over them and dice a little bit of fresh dill over. I'll then cure it in the fridge with the lime juice and dill, covered in some Glad wrap for anywhere between 30 minutes to 2 hours. Depends on how you like it. If you like it really well cured, go out to 2 hours. If you like to keep that really nice raw texture, then sort of 30 minutes is more than enough. So you can mix this sequence up a bit. Lime juice first, dill second, dill first, lime juice second. If you are putting the lime juice on top of the dill, you've just got to be very delicate so you don't wash it all off. In this case here, I'm just taking sprigs of dill, dicing it nice and fine, spreading it evenly over the fish. Then I'm going to cut these limes in half and juice them. When I'm not doing it for YouTube, I actually just squeeze it by hand. Probably should have stuck with my usual techniques, but I was trying to be a bit fancy here. Once it's in the jug, it's just a really slow process of pouring it on to make sure I don't wash that dill off. Get a really nice even coating. All of these pieces have got the lime juice contact, and then we're just going to cover it with a cling film, put it in the fridge, in this case about 1 hour, cue it up absolutely beautifully. Now, when I put the cling film down, I actually like to push it down and squeeze out a bit of the air, and this just really helps me make sure that I'm getting lime juice all the way up the edges. This plate's got a bit of a depression in the middle, and if I just leave the wrap over the top loosely, then it's more likely that the lime juice is just going to pool up in the middle, and there'll be an uneven curing of the fish. And when I push it down like this and sort of disperse that lime juice, I just make sure they're going to be more consistent in the way that it cures up. You'll see in the photo that it's still a bit more cured in the centre, but perfectly good for me. Before I serve it, I put some fresh sprigs of dill on top and some sesame oil and a really nice generous amount of sea salt flakes. You definitely want the flakes for texture. You don't want to be just putting a salt shaker over the top of it. Now, if you're not like me and you can tolerate onion, I strongly recommend super fine diced Spanish onion on this dish as well. But unfortunately, I like onion, my stomach doesn't, so I have to omit that for this recipe, but really, I don't miss it that much these days. As I said, nice generous helping of salt over the top. Get this out on the table. I recommend serving this with a contrasting texture. In this case, wafer thin crackers work a treat. Now, waste not, want not. Check out these kingfish wings. A lot of people throw these away. Mate, absolutely beautiful. Hot smoker, honey soy miso infusion.
Amazing.
And here's just a few stills of some other dishes I made with that fish. I was so happy with the condition of this one. Really fat, perfect springtime king. Wonderful. Anyway, frothers, hope you've enjoyed it. Get out there, stay moist. See you next time.